Right now on 2 News at 10, Tulsa's first Ebola scare. A traveler now being monitored. 2 News reporters at the scene on the hospital. We're also tracking the level of risk and how they're handling the patient. Next on 2 News at 10.
2 News begins right now with breaking news.
That breaking news, the Tulsa County Health Department monitoring an individual in Tulsa County who recently traveled from West Africa. That person developed a fever, and EMSA paramedics transported that patient to a Tulsa hospital for isolation and evaluation. Right now, doctors classify this patient as low risk. It means the person traveled to Guinea, Liberia, or Sierra Leone within the past 21 days, but did not have any known exposure to Ebola. We are told the individual did not provide care for or have contact with anyone who has the virus. The health department says it stayed in contact with this person every day, monitoring their symptoms and temperature. 2 News reporter Nathan Edwards joins us live now from OSU Medical Center, where the patient is right now. Nathan?
Well, I just arrived here at the Oklahoma State University Medical Center here in Tulsa. Now, we talked to a media coordinator here at the hospital. They tell us that they are continuing to monitor a patient here at this hospital. The hospital says people should not be concerned about coming to the hospital here. At this time, the information, though, is very limited about this patient and how they are monitoring them. We did call the CDC to see what their take was on this case, and they told us that they have not been made aware of what is going on at this time. Once we get more information, we'll be posting on our website tonight at kjrh.com. Reporting tonight live in Tulsa, Nathan Edwards, 2 News works for you.
Thank you, Nathan. Now, the Tulsa Health Department is keeping close tabs on the patient and their care. 2 News reporter Liz Bryant is live at the Health Department right now. She's been tracking down some more answers for us. Liz, what can you tell us?
Well, as Nate said, the CDC not notified at this time. We are live right now with Tulsa Health Department staff. Why has the CDC not been notified?
The individual is currently being evaluated at the local medical facility. That medical facility would be working with the Oklahoma State Department of Health Acute Disease Services, who would notify the CDC in the event that is needed.
So it's not up to the Tulsa Health Department, it's up to the Oklahoma State Health Department.
That is correct. It would not be up to the Tulsa Health Department.
And all right now that we know of is that this is, quote, a person or, quote, an individual. Is this person from Jinx, Broken Arrow? Where in Tulsa County? Is it a male or is it a female?
At this point in time, all that we can release out of respect for the individual's privacy is that they are an individual in Tulsa County, either residing or visiting.
So what does this mean for everyone living in Tulsa County right now?
Well, it's important to remember that this individual was determined by the CDC to be low risk, which means that they did not care for anyone infected with Ebola. They had no known contact with anyone with Ebola, so the risk is low.
Your point is that we don't want to be completely spreading fear.
Absolutely. That is absolutely important to remember, that this individual is low risk, and at this point in time, there is no reason or cause for concern for the citizens in Tulsa County.
No known contact to a person with Ebola in West Africa. Do we know what the person was doing in West Africa?
I do not have that information. I do know that they were not working with people who were infected with Ebola. They had no contact, no known exposure to the Ebola virus.
Now, besides fever, are there any other symptoms that that person alerted to you tonight?
No, the only symptom that the individual notified us tonight is a fever.
Okay, so thank you very much, and we will continue to stay out here with the Tulsa Health Department staff asking more questions coming up in just minutes. Live, Liz Bryant, 2 News works for you.
Now, Liz, a question I do have that I would like you to ask her is that usually we wanted this person for 21 days, find out where we are in that 21-day cycle and what other information they can give us and how soon they'll be releasing more information as well. Now, in the last hour, we have been in contact with Tulsa Mayor Dewey Bartlett's office, and a spokesperson told us that the mayor's office had not been informed about this case either. We asked to talk to the mayor tonight. He's not available. Meantime, just 24 hours ago, Oklahoma healthcare leaders announced their plan for dealing with people who cared for patients in West Africa. Now, these new guidelines mirror federal rules that divide Ebola contact into 4 categories. People at high risk will be subject to a 21-day in-home quarantine. That would be people who have cared for an Ebola patient and may have had a needle stick or direct contact with bodily fluids. No quarantine will be required for people at lower risk. Those people are to monitor themselves, such as the case with this patient tonight. Now, doctors say that chances are very low that this patient would actually have Ebola, but they're still watching closely, especially since one of the symptoms, fever, is showing up. Now, a fever greater than 101.5 is what they're watching for. Ebola also presents with severe headache, unexplained bleeding or bruising, stomach pain, muscle pain, vomiting, diarrhea, and weakness. Now, Ebola has certainly touched off a firestorm of controversy, whether local, state, and federal governments are doing enough. In Maine, a woman defying orders to stay in her home. Nurse Casey Hickox recently treated Ebola patients in Sierra Leone. She is not showing symptoms, though considered high risk, and went on a bike ride today with her boyfriend. The governor of that state saying negotiations with her lawyers to keep her inside her home had broken down. As we've reported, 2 nurses in Dallas, Texas are Ebola-free. Nina Pham and Amber Vincent treated at separate hospitals, one in Atlanta at Emory University Hospital, the other at the National Institutes of Health. Now, those nurses treated Thomas Eric Duncan. He contracted Ebola in West Africa. Now, Duncan came to Dallas to see his son graduate, and while he was there, he got sick and later died. Family members stayed inside the same apartment for days, but they never got sick. So where are these countries on the African continent? They're all very small in the east central part of the continent. You can see them here on the left of Mali. The hardest hit area, Liberia. Also in the Ebola zone, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Senegal, and Guinea. As we hope tonight's precaution is simply a false alarm, there is a history of similar stories, and here are just a couple of them. We extensively covered the cruise ship out of Texas that returned home and a person on board self-quarantined. That person handled biological fluid from Thomas Eric Duncan, and that person did not get sick. Another person who traveled to Africa got sick during a tour at the Pentagon. That person also testing negative. Our coverage of this breaking story continues right now online for you. Go to KJRH.com for more information throughout the overnight hours. Plus, we're monitoring all the new overnight developments in our newsroom. You can wake up with us on 2 News Today starting at 5 a.m.